Yo, 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 yo. Guys, welcome to an absolutely huge week on Across the Hobby. I'm your friend Adam, and I'm hyped to take you through the world of big auctions from last week, but more importantly, an absolutely huge week of auctions here. Before I even get started on anything, I want to let you guys know there's so many huge auctions this week. I'm actually going to take REA's massive auction. They only do 2 or 3 big auctions a year. This is one of them that ends this week. I'm going to take it and I'm going to do a lot of it on a whole separate show that I'm going to drop tomorrow. So appreciate REA for sponsoring, supporting that. I'd like to take more time with everybody's stuff here on the show, but the reality is it doesn't, I don't, it takes a lot of time. And most of this, I think you guys know, is just me talking through like what I'm seeing through the week, but appreciate our REA for being willing to sponsor that. So with that said, let's jump into really one of the biggest weeks of the year. And we're going to do so by looking at a couple of sales that happened last week at MC Sports Cards that require us to look using Card Ladder. So if you go to eBay and look at just MC Sports Cards sales right now, and then look at items that are just ending over $5,000, the top two, meaning the first two or the last two cards to sell, both tell us a really interesting story. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on each of them so you guys can see the story that they tell. So this card right here is a card from the Upper Deck Master Collection, from the 2000 Master Collection. If you click original listing, you can see the card up close. It's numbered to 23. One of these recently in a high grade sold for a ton. That's a piece of Game Floor, I believe. This set and the other Master Collections that came out around this time between like 1999 and 2001, they were really like the exquisite before exquisite, right? You had Ultimate Collection, which was $100 per pack. You had these Master Collection things that were really expensive, but didn't give you a lot of variety in each box. They were more like a box set with like 1 or 2 different cards. And this card right here, it being in the mystery pack, is one of the things that you could have gotten that was different. You can see it's a Jordan autograph, it's numbered to 23, and it's an incredibly difficult card to find. So with that said, if you look at it and you go, well, what did it sell for? I see that it says $54,999. That's not what it sold for. Whenever eBay has this like line through something right here, what it's doing is it's saying, hey, this card sold, but we're not telling you how much it sold for. Why do they do that? I suspect it's because I don't really know why, honestly. Like there might be something to, they want people to be able to sell things and have it be somewhat private. But because Card Ladder's got our back here, it's not private. So we've copied the title. So we're going to enter it there. And you can see that on November 27th, 2025, the same date, this card sold for $42,500. So really big sale for this card. And you can come back over to here and again see it. So that's a Jordan autograph from the mystery collection, not from Exquisite, but from the mystery collection, selling for $42,000. Awesome piece. If you scroll down though, you get the story that's a very different story. And if we click on it, you'll understand why. So this is the Michael Jordan star in a PSA 7.5, unbelievable card. But look right here up at the top. And I would suggest you ask, why does this happen? There's several reasons that it could happen. Let's sort of talk about them for a second. But see how it says this listing sold on Thursday, November 27th, and then it follows it up with the seller has relisted this item or one like it. If you copy this right here, you're going to see, if we go to Card Ladder, you're going to see that this card is still in the Card Ladder database. I would guess that this will come down. It's only been up, basically just happened a couple days ago. It's a 7.5. It shows that it sold for $151,000. It's awesome that Card Ladder is able to get us that data. But what is going to also, in most cases, this would be awesome to have because it's like, oh yeah, we know what it sold for. But really, what we need to know here is that this isn't a real sale. It's not. In fact, if you go look at it right now, it is up. It is up and it's available. What it tells me is what the seller would be willing to let the card go for. it tells me that the seller would be willing to let this card in a 7.5 go for $151,000. Unless the person who's selling it has decided, since it didn't get paid for, that they're no longer allowed to get 100, or that they're no longer willing to take $151,000. Unless that's the case, that's a learning here from this big item. You can, as you scroll down, you can see other big buy it now items, or buy it now or best offer items that have been accepted, and you can go in and use Card Ladder to see what those cards sold for as well. And then if you look at this Griffey, this is the last one we'll look at that sold at MC. This is just the regular 89 Upper Deck rookie, but in a PSA 10 shows that it closed for $5,600. I didn't realize they had gotten that high, but man, to me, that is a lot of money for that card. If we go over to our friends at GemRate and just quickly hit universal search and then go 1989 Griffey Upper Deck. The card's been graded 187,000 times. It is the single most graded card in the history of the hobby. It is one of the most iconic cards ever made. I believe it's the fourth most iconic card ever made. That's long been my feeling. And if you look at it, you can see, guys, there are over 4,000 Gem Mint copies, 4,340 Gem Mint copies. But we can see that one just sold at MC Sports Cards on eBay for $5,600. So interesting stuff. All right, moving along. We've gone through these Jordan cards. Now I want to show you a big card that sold at Hoodies, and I want to take just a second to ask what we learn about this one. One thing I love about this one is that the person who bought this, I think it's One Memorabilia Collection, One Memorabilia Group. I always forget his exact Instagram name. His name is Lou. I think a lot of you know Lou. Lou has been big time on the old school Jordan autographs for a while now. And you can see that if you go look at his Instagram right now, that he's saying, yes, I bought this. And he's super thrilled to have it. And the reason that he's super thrilled to have it is because this is in ballpoint pen and because it is inscribed. Now, some of you might say, but doesn't it just say to Brent? Why is that a positive thing? I always thought that was a negative thing. And for a really long time, we have been taught, I taught this when I worked at a card shop 20-something years ago, that whenever you have a card that's being addressed to somebody else, that's a really bad thing. It's a really bad thing. I do think that in some ways that one thing that we can see right now is some of these old traditional rules when it comes to autographs are sort of changing as people care more and more for autographs in a certain style or autographs signed earlier. I think to Lou, what this says, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I believe that what he thinks on this is, hey, this shows this is an older Jordan autograph. This is an autograph in ballpoint pen, which I know a lot of people really care about, and it's actually inscribed. And finding those things on a sticker like this is really, really tough. And he's right about all of that. And what's interesting is, as somebody who really wants to buy the card, he's willing to pay a lot for it. Now, what I want to find out is, you can see it sold for $33,833. What I want to check here, and this is what I wanted to do with you guys. I haven't done this yet. I want to just check Michael Jordan 1986 sticker auto. I'm going to do PSA DNA. And when we do that, so this one is an 8 with a 9 auto, and it sold, gosh, has it been that long? Why do we only have 71 here? Let me take off auto. Let's just try PSA DNA. That only increased it by 4. That's really interesting, isn't it? So we're just not seeing this card sell. It's pretty shocking to me that in the last year, we have 4 sales on this card. Wait, why is the one that we're looking up here not popping up? Sticker signed. Oh, it doesn't say DNA. It says authentic auto, but it doesn't say DNA. Okay, let's go back and let's try without DNA. Let's try. We have to do something to pull up the autographs, though. Okay, so we get 91 in this case. But still, guys, it's a really low number. 51,000 for a plain black, but it's an 8 graded with a 9 autograph. This one's a 4 graded with a 9 autograph. A little bit older style, it looks like $18,000. That's back in March, though. We're talking about almost a year ago. And then these ones are closer to a year ago. So we're just not seeing sticker autographs of Michael Jordan sell. It's really making me just kick myself because I always really wanted one of these. I think the sticker looks really nice signed. And I remember there was one on COMC several years ago, and the ask price was $2,500. And I was like, gosh, I just think that's too much because I had seen a lot sell for a lot less than that. And I didn't get one. And it's really making me kick myself because it was a PSA DNA copy. I don't remember what the grade on it was, but man, I should have bought that. Anyway, so that is a big sale for that card. What I wanted to see is whether it was, much higher than similar copies, but there's not enough similar copies to even compare it to. The only thing that we have to compare it to is this one right here. Like, only thing that's even relatively recent, and we're talking about almost a year ago on this card, but this one's an 8 with a 9 autograph. The one that just sold is an 8 autograph, but the card is authentic. What I would have loved to have seen here, it's always about isolating variables. And so what do I mean by that? Well, we know that there's a card condition variable, there's an autograph type variable, an autograph grade variable, there's a grading variable. There's all of these different things. If you could find another Jordan autograph on an 86 Fleer sticker, just like this one, and it's graded authentic with an auto of an 8, that would be the perfect set of variables. But the autograph was like in marker and it wasn't personalized. If you were able to compare the two of them, I'd be really interested to see how those two go against each other. We don't have that here, unfortunately. But still, I thought $34,000 on this card is really strong. I'm guessing the buyer or the seller's pretty happy about that. I think I would be very happy about that. But I'm happy for Lou because it's just something that you don't see. It's the only one of those that we've ever seen hit the market. So very, very cool piece for sure. Okay, we're 12 minutes in. We've only talked about a few auctions. Let's try to go a little bit faster. So I want to look at the whole first page of what sold at Fanatics last week. And we're gonna go quick. You can see that this Jordan autograph from '96 from the UD3. It was supposed to be called UD Cubed, but I don't call it that, and I don't know anybody who does. The UD3 court commemoratives sold for $52,800, which is the exact same amount of this rookie Shohei 2018 Transcendent autograph numbered 1 of 1. Wow. $52,800 on that. My favorite in the top row, though, is this Tom Brady. I love the blue autograph on here. Most of these have faded from the Super Bowl. That's where that ball's from. This Kobe was another one that I was watching massively. I believe I saw somebody this morning taking credit for the purchase here. I think a buddy of mine posted it, and when he posted it, I didn't see that he had recently bought it, but I believe it was this copy, so that's good to see. A Drake May gold Kaboom, number 10, $27,000. A PSA 10. This is not the 500, but just the regular card, sold for $24,600. Now, this is one of the most interesting things of the auction. This Kobe right here really stood out to me. I'm not a color match guy, but that jersey with that border, whew, that is a beautiful card. It's PSA 10. It's not a card I'd really ever thought of before until seeing this image up at Fanatics Collect. Being a PSA 10, it's a pop too. Now, here's what's interesting. This card sold same week as, scrolling down here for a second, as this card. This is a PSA 9. It's from 2001. It's the black. Black is much rarer out of 50, but in its population, there are 7 of these with none graded higher. And remember, there are 2 of these, and obviously they're none graded higher because it's a 10. Now, I looked at these 2 cards and I said to myself, which of those 2 cards would I rather have? To me, this was really hard. I'm not an aesthetics guy, but I had to look at this and go, gosh, the aesthetics of this one's really awesome. I had to think about it. To me, the answer still is I always love the 01 blacks. The 01 blacks never pop up. At this point, this was the rarest chrome refractor that had ever been made. And Kobe's probably the second best player in the set after the Jordan. So I love this piece. And it sold for a lot less than this card, but I think that aesthetics have a massive part to play. The Shaq original rubies. When I say original rubies, I mean the first numbered rubies. There is a year before this, but it's not numbered. Numbered to 50 sold for $17,000. I think that's a great grab. We've seen some big Shaq inserts and parallels, so for a lot of money, this is one of the nicest ones. 97 is where the rubies start to be numbered. It's the amoeba pattern. It's a great looking card. I love the action shot here. I love that it's horizontal. It's got a lot going for it. $17,000 for me feels like a pretty good deal on that card. The Steph Curry Inscription of Warriors signature on the side. Gold border, PSA 7 with 9 autograph. Big card, $15,000. Then we get to our first big basketball kaboom from 2015 at 9.5, 15 grand. Look at that. Sold for the same amount as the Chrome rookie in a BGS 10. The Kobe also came in at the same price. This is his first year silver prism, but in a PSA 10. You'll see this at the same time as Steph sold. Very interesting to me to see the Kobe outsell the Steph. And how would that compare to a LeBron if LeBron was up? Well, in this case, they sold for very close to the same number. Very similar on those two. Always interesting to watch those two to see which one will sell for more. A PSA 10 of the Tiffany Griffey. Look at this quad with 3 Logoman tags and a really nice patch. 4 really highly collected, big-time basketball players. The Tom Brady Gold Prism in a 5. Very interesting auction here, guys. Top 15% eye appeal, meaning Fanatics looked at it and said, we see that it's graded a 5, but it looks really good to us. That's really an interesting thing here. It's graded a 5, but it looks really good to us. Sold for $11,000. Now, this is Brady in his Bucks jersey. Does that impact it? It's playing days. Interesting sale there. Caitlin Clark, the NT rookie, number 225, number 1 of 25, down to 11 grand. Boy, those have really seen a tumble. And then the last thing that I wanted to show you guys, looks like it's on the second page. So one of the things that we talked about last week was how, there's 2 last things. One of the things that I showed in my, on my Instagram, if you guys aren't following, on Instagram, I always try to show a few things that are maybe pretty interesting things to watch through the week. This Kobe right here, to me, was such an interesting watch. And the reason why, if you really zoom in on this one, guys, this is one of the nicest looking Kobe cards you're going to find from 96 Chrome. If there's any greening, it's back here in his upper leg right here. I'm not sure if that's any greening or maybe it's just a little bit. I don't see any on the rest of the card. I think it's one of the nicest, cleanest copies of his regular Chrome card that I have seen in years. And then I posted about it, and that post has been seen, I don't know how many tens of thousands of times, but tens of thousands of times. Still only did 10,500. It's only 50% more than the green copy. And I was pretty surprised about that. I thought the last copy that was turned green, I thought this would be probably double, maybe more than that. It's only 10,500. What that tells me is that, and obviously it's still way more than the green copy, but at least on the base, nobody's going gaga for great color. No one's going like 2X, 3X, 4X. There's none of that happening. I thought about buying this. I would love to have bought this. Again, the color here is out of this world. So to me, that was really interesting that wasn't higher than it went for. And then the other thing that happened on this page that I got to show you guys, because we talked about it a lot last week. There's a few things. Look at this. This Kobe in a gem mint sold for over 10,000. A 6 on the Messi. Man, it's crazy to me that those are the same price. And then the Tiger, for me, this is a really great row. I love the Tiger and I love the Kobe there. But here's the interesting thing to me on this row. We went almost 3 months without seeing a PSA 10 Steph Curry Topps rookie sell at auction. Almost 3 months. It's really interesting. Almost 3 months without seeing this card sell. 10,200 right here. Go down to the next line. 9,900 right here. As we talked about last week, not shocking to see the new label outsell the old label. We see that over and over again. But this is one of those times where I look at a sale and I go, man, like there's been some real heat here. There's been some real interest. I've had people who have been sort of saying like, I'd love to find a PSA 10 Steph rookie. Like, why is it we're not seeing any? And then you have this long period in which, again, on a base card like this, to not see one sell for 3 months was kind of a long time. And then we get 2 at once. The 2 at once is just a killer. I was hoping that that wouldn't be the case, but I do think that it basically selling for what it did last time was kind of a disappointment for a lot of people. And I think seeing both of them sell at the same time is a big part of that. All right, we're going to get off of Fanatics Collect. We're going to get out of this other stuff we've already been in. We're going to leave open Gem Rate and Card Ladder so we can reference them, which we will be doing here shortly. Now we're going to look at the biggest sales from the Golden Elite auction. Really interesting. We had the Golden Elite auction, and then we're going to have the Golden 100 1 week apart, right next to each other, two of their biggest auctions. So a lot of stuff going on at Golden. Biggest sale last week, shocking to me, the 2017 Kobe set, the Eminence set. How many autographs are in this? I guess 37 cards that are all signed. Wow. 5 playoff cards. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of people think of me as like the guy who knows Eminence. I know that first year of Eminence certainly better than anybody, guys. I love that set for a lot of different reasons. I don't know the stuff that comes after it as well. Not nearly as well. I was disappointed in 2017 when their second run of Eminence was a Kobe only product. And in retrospect, I just wish I would have bought as much of it as I could because we didn't know we were going to lose Kobe, right? We just thought he was going to sign forever. So that's the biggest sell of last week. And it's not shocking because of how many, just the sheer quantity of Kobe cards that are in there. But then next up, we get an orange and a BGS 9.5 with 10 autographs, sold for $311. And then the Steph Curry Kaboom, the graphic that I put together on this right after it ended. If we come back, I'll show it to you real quick and we'll put it over here. If we go over here to my profile, you will see there is this post that I made just after it ended. This is the same copy. And I had some people say, hey, there was a PSA 10 in here. In fact, look, this guy right here, Low Pop Poppy said, hey, there's a bigger sell with the PSA 10 to look at. Crazy times. And he's right. The reason that I wanted to show it like this was because this is the same card that's being sold twice. So it sold in the middle of 2022 for $51,000. And then in November, just this weekend, we see it sell for almost 5 times as much. And I think this was not tremendously surprising to a lot of us. The Steph Gold Kaboom, it's his first one. It's 2018. And Kaboom collectors are sort of like, look, this is our big set. This is our big moment. It's our first gold Kaboom set. It's a little bit clunky from the perspective of like the lineage because I'm a first year collector and I love that the first year of Kaboom is 2013. And I've told this on this channel before a few years ago when I was like, I think this has a chance to really take off. Not that I love the set, but I could see that I thought it was really going to take off. I wanted to go after the first year stuff. And then when I looked at the populations, I sort of went, there's too many of them for me. Now, what that didn't mean is that it would never take off or that I didn't think that it would ever take off. It just was too many for me to really care about collecting it. It wasn't a great enough chase for me. Yes, maybe if I would have just done it in PSA 10, it would have been a tremendous chase. But that is the first year, 2013. Then you get the first gold year 5 years later in 2018. And to me, the first golds are very cool because of how rare they are. I just wish that they were not, 5 years after the original. With that said, we know how popular they are. And so the cards sold for almost 5 times as much. And for a lot of people, look, this is like one of the biggest Steph Curry cards ever made. So really an interesting sell there. Okay. And then there's so many other big cards, the Golden Elite that sold. See if maybe we'll find one more that really stands out. I'll tell you which one stood out is this Kobe. $85,000 is a lot of money, but I really like this card a lot. You can't see it probably because it's too small, but I'm not going to click on it because sometimes it errors out. See that Laker emblem? I just think that's really nice. It's just from the laundry tag, but it's from a game used Kobe piece, and things that show the team from the jerseys are pretty rare. So I really like that piece. All right, that is it for the big sales from last week. We're 24 minutes in. Now what I want to do is tell you to go buy the book at the link that's below here. Most of you, I think, probably know. If you watch it all the time, you definitely know. But if you don't, I was able to partner with GemRate to create a really neat crowdsourcing project earlier this year called the 25 and 25. We interviewed 42 or 43 people who work in the industry, experts who work in the industry, and did a survey with them. But we also left the survey open to the community. Over 400 members of the community, believe it or not, filled out the survey, even though the average time was about a half an hour. It took for people to fill it out. This resulted in the survey, by the way, had 125, 135 cards on it, and people were challenged with choosing and then ranking the 25 most iconic cards. How did we determine what was iconic? By this, as it says here on the back of the book. This was the definition that people were given when they chose and ranked their 25. The definition of iconic says this: being iconic means being widely recognized and admired, often symbolizing a particular era, group, or concept. It signifies a person or thing that is influential, representative, and revered. And so given that definition, people were given the opportunity to do their survey, rank their top 25. And then we took those two groups, the expert group and the community group, and we averaged all of them within their individual groups together. And that created an expert ranking and a community ranking. And then we applied 50% weights to both those lists, just like they do in the NBA All-Star game, all right, where you've got like different weightings. And what came out in the end was the 25 and 25, the 25 most iconic cards of the 2000s. And since we're 25 years in, thought that would be an interesting thing for everybody. The results of that are in this book. The book is about 70 pages. You can see, and every card that was in the survey is pictured, and every card that made the list has a long write-up by me, as well as interesting facts by GemRate, as well as thoughts by somebody who owns the card. There are logoman cards in it. There are really commonly known cards in it. There are different ways that people think about iconic, and I think you'll really like it. I think it's a great Christmas gift if you're a person who's in the hobby. We're not going to end up printing tens of thousands of copies of this book. Honestly, if we end up printing a couple thousand copies of this book, it would be incredible. The reviews so far from everybody who I've talked to who've gotten it is like, holy crap, how did you make this for $35? And we did everything we could. It's because we had our awesome sponsors. So with that said, thank you for listening. I should have made my screen big. In fact, I'll just show you guys real quick. Boom. That's what it looks like. You can see it's still in its wrapping here. But also, I guess the last thing I'll tell you on this is going to sound very strange, but I had a few people who messaged me and said, hey, Adam, I'd like a signed copy of the book. Can I order a signed copy? You can, but if you order it through the website at the link below, you won't get a signed copy. You'll just get one from the printer. And please do that. I mean, I don't know why anyone would want my autograph on a book, but I know it sounds totally pretentious to even ask this, so forgive me for that. But enough people have asked that I would just say, if you do want one that is signed, just send me a DM on my Instagram. And for literally the extra cost of the shipping to have it shipped to me once and then to you, I'll do that for you. So let me know if you're interested in that. And there's not a ton, but I've got enough quantity that I'd be happy to do that. And then the last thing that I'll say is, if you have a shop and you'd like to order like 10 or more copies for resale, send me a DM and I can get you a deal that way. Don't go through the website if you're going to do 10 or more. Let me send them to you so you can save money. I want to get them to you for the cheapest price possible because I want them to be out there. So with all that said, let's now look at the biggest items that are ending this week across the hobby. And we're going to start with MC Sports Cards. MC's MC Monday ends tonight. And so all the items that we look at right here are items that are ending tonight. We start out with a big-time Luka rookie autograph. This is a really interesting set, the Draft Day Ink set. There's different levels to this, different serial numbers. One worth researching for sure. If I remember right, the one-of-ones are inscribed and the non-one-of-ones aren't. There's some of the first autographs signed by these guys. Very cool. LeBron James BGS 9.5. This is the Fleer Tradition. I don't know if this is the number, if this is one of the numbered ones or not. Seems like it's a lot of money. I think it might be one of the numbered ones. Let's check, see if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. It's the 1 out of 375, which is I forget what it's called. What's 1 out of 375 called? It's just called Tradition. It's a parallel. The regular version is not numbered. But this one being a 9.5 and being a parallel is pretty cool. Let's highlight maybe 5 more cards on MC. There's such a big auctions, so many auctions this week. I don't want to spend forever here, but I want to give you guys a good taste. I've got to look at this Mahomes. This stood out to me when I was looking earlier. Big time Brady rookie autograph right here. A couple of big Buzelis NTs that are selling. Steve Nash. Okay, I do want to look at this one, and I'll tell you why in a moment. I love this Jeter. I discovered this set recently. I didn't know about it previously. This is the Mystique established set, and so it's sort of like the Raise the Roof set in basketball. My guess is this is one of them where you had to peel the thing away, but I don't know that for sure. What I do know is it's numbered the same. It's from the same year. Very cool. Al Horford autograph Logoman out of Eminence. That's very cool. Another autograph Logoman out of Eminence, the LaMarcus Aldridge. An early LeBron autograph. I love that early LeBron autograph right there. You don't see it super well on the image here, but you can, if you scroll in and look, you'll see a very early LeBron signature. And since he's changed it so much, it's very, very cool to see that. All right. Ooh, Steph Deca autograph gold. This is a gold, right? We're going to look at that, make sure it's not an orange, but I think it is. Damian Lillard with the championship tag, number 1 autograph, numbered to 5. A 9.5 on the Jordan, a Luka Lakers Eminence autograph, 2 of them. One of them that is more hollow foil than the other. That'll be interesting to see how those 2 compare, because this one is rarer, but it's not hollow foil. Which one will the community prefer? You guys know I like rarity, but give me that hollow foil. I just think it's so much of a better looking card. The Iverson autograph right here is very cool. Clarity insert, crystal clarity. A Tim Duncan autograph patch. I don't know if you're going to find a Tim Duncan autograph patch where the patch is that big and the card is that good looking for a lesser price. And the reason I say that is this looks mostly like trim, but it is still an autograph patch of Tim Duncan. Steph Curry autograph, a couple of them. Autograph rookie card right here out of the Crown Royale. And then Flawless. That looks like the platinum, but it's that year where they had sapphires too. So that one's numbered out of 10. Big time Kobe autograph. I always think that this in flight is just beautiful. Autographs on card there, by the way. Great looking piece. A Shohei autograph from 2024 Sterling. A Steph autograph from 2009 draft edition Upper Deck. Don't see this card very often. I actually want to look at that one because if I remember right, there's some stickers in that, but I don't think Steph is on a sticker. Here's that Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie. Some people are going nuts for those right now. My guess is there's some people who are putting together large quantities of these cards. That's my guess. And that's what has to be happening because these are selling for a lot. A Clay NT RPA. This is the regular card, number to 199, PSA 7, with it looks like a 9 or a 10 autograph. These were just not graded by PSA early on. All of these were graded by Beckett. All of them. It's almost jarring to see that card in a PSA slab at this point, just because we never did see him in a PSA slab. A Jokic Kaboom, PSA 10. One of my favorite cards of the week. I love this Jimmy Butler, and we're going to talk about why here in a second. All right. A D Rose Logoman, a Mailman Jordan dual autograph. A lot of people don't like Mailman, but I'll tell you what, those are 2 of the greatest scorers of all time. The guy who in the finals gave Jordan the toughest time was probably Malone. They were on the ropes there in game 6, the final year. And obviously I say that being a Jazz fan, but those 2 guys, they don't have, I think it's maybe their only dual, or maybe they have one more. They don't have a lot of dual autographs. The Nike swoosh of LeBron's very cool. Roman Anthony autograph and an SGA game used flawless card where he's with the Thunder. We've got the Giannis from his rookie year immaculate RPA. It's not from the base set. It is an insert, but it is a giant patch. Great looking card. Look at this tag auto of David Cone. I haven't seen too many David Cone big cards before, but that is definitely a big one. Paolo Banchero, really great looking flawless card. PSA 6 on the Jordan 84 star card here at $8,300. I love this Jeter from 97. Great looking autograph. A black gold of Steph. Really a big card. That's from 2020 Prism. It's interesting to see that one at auction. You always wonder, is the black gold out of 5 or the regular gold going to be the bigger card? But I think we saw a gold of this actually sell fairly recently. So that will give us a good comparison. A Jeremy Lin championship tag when he was with the Lakers. That's a very cool piece. A Steph red autograph out of the first year of Flawless. Boy, that's something you don't see very often, is big-time autographs from the first year of Flawless. That's a really cool piece. A Derrick Rose autograph patch with a really cool piece right here. We just saw so much really cool stuff of Derrick Rose come out over the course of a few weeks between Flawless and Eminence. What is this? Babe Ruth Mickey Mantle. We got to look at that one. And then another card. This ends in 7 days. Oh, you know what? We're not going to look at the Ruth because that ends in 7 days. And we're going to look at this Kobe BGS 10 later too, because I have not seen one of those in a long time. And maybe I'm just mistaken and forgetting, but I think it's been a while. Okay, we've got 5 or 6 cards that I want to look at closely here at MC. So Mahomes, this is the year 2017, 2016 and 2017. There was this period where Panini just tried black autographs on everything. And in general, the hobby said, please don't do that. We don't like it. But I'm going to tell you, in retrospect, I don't mind it. I really don't. I think this looks like this just is a great looking autograph. Some people don't like the streaks here. I just don't care. I think it's a great looking card. I think that the holofoil around the patch here is phenomenal. To me, aesthetically, this gives you basically everything or close to everything that the regular NT Mahomes gives you. It's a smaller patch, but the patch isn't game used, right? The patches and the patch on the other one isn't game used either. The enclosed player worn material and autograph are guaranteed by Panini. That's the same thing basically that it says on the back of the NT. Yes, the patch is smaller, but give me the aesthetics of this card with a holofoil throughout. Like, I love this card. I love this Mahomes. If you wanted an RPA of Mahomes, this is a differentiator, a different type of card. Man, there's a lot worse that you can do than that. Okay, this Steve Nash, I want to show you guys something. Okay, so if you come into Beckett and you type in Steve Nash Exquisite and you hit enter, you're going to get, you can see there are 168 cards total, Steve Nash Exquisite cards that were produced. And that includes parallels and that sort of thing. But what's really interesting is if you scroll down here, you can see there's like autographs and mem and auto. There's all these different things that you can enter in, and all of them are serial numbered effectively, right? But if you look, the lowest one is autographs. Now, the problem here, what I'd love to be able to do is choose auto and patch. But when you do that, it sort of does some funny things. If I just choose auto and hit apply, okay, what you're going to see is, so there's this Baron Davis duel. There's this Sean Marion duel. There's, this Amari duel. The vast majority of these Nash cards are not, they're not autograph patches, or they're not solo cards. They're cards with other people. And not that there's anything wrong with that. A lot of people collect those cards. But a lot of people like me would rather have the card that represents that player and just that player. So for like Steve Nash, again, we're talking about this card right here. The question I'm asking is like, okay, so how big of a deal is a Steve Nash logo, or limited logo, excuse me. And if you come in here, you can see that you've got like some auto mem cards, but they're duels. And then we get to our first autograph single card, but it's not a patch. It's just an autograph. See how it says auto and serial number? It doesn't have mem. And we know that because Enshrinements is just an autograph set. You can come down here and see extra exquisite jersey autograph. There's only 5 of these, and it's a jersey. It's not a patch. It's a jersey, but there's one. And then you get the 04 limited logos, number to 50. That's a big card. You've got the number pieces to 13. You've got the emblems of endorsement to 15. These are all in 04 and in 05. Then there's the Enshrinements, which is just an autograph set. And you could drop this into Excel and you could figure out how many total autograph patches you have of Steve Nash. This one from 05, I'm going to tell you guys, there's not that many. If we go to Card Ladder again and we just type in Steve, just did that twice, Steve Nash limited logos, we're going to get a total sales ever of 51. And you can look right here and see, we're going to start with an 05, an 05, an 05, and then we're going to go to 04. And we get to the next one. Oh, there's one from 09. That's a big card. Oh, that's a cool card. Kind of wish we could go back in time and buy that one from earlier this year. $4,000 on that one. Seems like a great deal. This is a rare set, and it's in a PSA holder. Gosh, I got to look at this one real quick. I know this is totally unrelated, but whoever bought this got a really good deal. So this, why did that do that? Okay. This card numbered to 25 or 24. So yeah, 24 of 24, $4,000. That's a huge card, guys. That was when all the big stuff was selling at Heritage, all the big exquisite stuff. In retrospect, that was really a great deal. This card is got a cool patch, and it sold in September. And then you have this one in June, this one in February. I mean, that's it for the last year. So it looks like there are 3 years. There's 05, there's 04, and there's 09. Unless there's another one that we're missing. I think that's probably the extent of the Steve Nash limited logos. So that means there's 124, I believe. This isn't guaranteed. I'd like to. In fact, let's go back to Beckett real quick. I can do better than this. If we go back to Beckett and we type in Steve Nash exquisite and we go with limited logos, I think we'll have 3. I think we'll have 3 results. Gosh, we have 5. How do we have 5? So there's 04, there's 05, there's 06. Oh, and there's an 09 to 19. Okay, so but why didn't we see 06? That's really surprising to me. Let's type in 2006. I must have just missed it. That's why we checked Beckett, I guess. Yeah, I was just confused. I thought that this was an 05. 05 and 06 sort of they look similar to me sometimes. But you can see, so there's this image of Nash, and then there's, wait, that's the same image. Okay, am I going crazy, guys? It seems to me that there's just an 05. 2006 limited logos, it's saying that this is a different card. I don't think so. I think you're wrong. I don't see a different card for 06. What does 2006 exquisite limited logos look like normally? Exquisite. This is a different card, guys. It's a different set. That's what I thought. I was going crazy for a second, but this is an 05, 06 card. This is an 06 card. They're different designs. The 06 has like these like wing things coming out. The 05 has this line coming down right here. Looks more like 04 without hollow foil. This is 06. This is 05. 06, 05. What we've yet to see is a Steve Nash from 06. And this is why, although Beckett will say things sometimes, you got to take these things with a grain of salt. What I will tell you definitively is this. If Steve Nash doesn't have a limited logo from 2006 on Card Ladder, and these are all 05, what that tells me is there's not really an 06 limited logo of Steve Nash, number to 50. I'm calling BS. I might have been wrong about looking through and going, oh, hey, there's really, oh, sorry, I'm all over the place. I might have been wrong when I was looking at Beckett. Where did that go? And I said, I'll bet there's going to be 3 because I missed the 09, because 19 is a rare card. It's a really rare card. In fact, let's go to Card Ladder and check this real quick. 2000. I'll bet you this one's here though. Well, so we don't have an image of it. This says it's from 2009, but this one's the one that's out of 24. This one says it's from 09, but it's from, I think this is 08. I think PSA labeled this wrong. Man, we're all over the place this morning. Correcting everybody's mistakes. Yeah, it's from 08. Okay. It's So just listen to me. So this card's from 08. PSA had it wrong on the slab. Yes, it's from 08. The 09 is like it looks like another design. It looks like the 06 or 05, I forget, but it sure doesn't look like this. And it's numbered to 19. We know that it exists, and the reason that we know that that card exists isn't because we have an image of it. We don't. But see how on eBay back in 2014 there was this one that sold, and it has everything else right. To me, that means that there is really a Steve Nash 2009 limited logos, as indicated by Beckett. Geez, we had to do some serious cleanup here this morning with this bullcrap. There is no 06 limited logos of Steve Nash to 50. That's my opinion, based on the fact that we don't have a single image from Card Ladder. There obviously is one from 05. There obviously is one from 04. So it is my opinion, based on researching this for a couple of minutes, that there are 100 that are numbered to 50. So there's 2 years numbered to 50. And then there's 24 from 08. We know that exists. And I would guess that there's the 19 from 09 based on that one listing and based on the fact that it's in Beckett. And Beckett's usually really good at this. I don't believe there's an 06 Steve Nash limited logos, but I could be wrong, and I could be looking at something and being really dumb right now. So forgive me if that's the case, but based on my little bit of research, I think I'm right about that. Okay, so with all that said, never depend on this for like investment advice and all that other stuff, right? This is just for me taking you through my thoughts here on this show, right? You're not paying for advice or anything like that. You're just hearing Adam talk about things. What is interesting about all of that to me is that here you have the 05, $740. Is it going to jump tonight? Well, I think so, because this one that sold in September, it's been 3 months since this sold for $3,100. Now, this was a 9.5. Gosh, that's a crappy scan from Probstein, though. Crappy scan. Look how faded that is. Look at this one over here. Look how much better this scan is right here. This isn't even perfect, but it's so much better than this. It's just so dark. This one right here with a giant patch, I think generally a lot of people don't believe that those types of patches and exquisite cards are real. But I will say this, the one that is up, that is selling, here we go. The one that's selling here, like this is not as nice of a patch. It's only an 8. So it's probably going to be less than what we would have seen at Probstein, but the market's moved. Nash, like big time Nash cards like this don't move very often. So anyway, to me, it's a really interesting card. Sorry to belabor that one, but I just thought it was really cool. We already talked about the Mahomes, awesome card. The Steph Curry, I wanted to make sure this is not only gold, it's numbered 1 out of 10. So this Steph Curry gold it's from Deca. Some people are like, I can't do Deca. And it is a sticker, and some people are like, I can't do sticker. Guys, it's a Steph Curry Prism gold card with real prism, like it's prism, and it is an autograph. It's a big card. So cool to see that at auction. And then I wanted to look at this Steph because I wanted to see if it was on sticker, and it is on sticker. It is. Look at that. It's also a rookie, and it's from before Steph was Steph, right? Steph was just done with playing at Davidson when this card was made. It was right as Upper Deck was about to lose the license. So you don't have an NBA logo on here because they didn't need it. It was for the draft selections at that time. And then, guys, absolutely one of my, this is one of my favorite cards of the week for sure. That's at auction. I know it's only at $1,000. I absolutely love this card. I want to tell you why. So in 2012, when National Treasures came out, they came out like every other rookie class or like every other product did that year. Every product in 2012 had both the 2011 and the 2012 draft classes rookie cards in them. And so the National Treasures RPA set that year is phenomenal, but it has a major problem. And that is, well, it has a couple of major problems. The first is that some of the cards are numbered to 199, which is a really big number for an RPA. Those cards are also all horizontal. So the main regular card in 2012 for the RPAs, they're all horizontal. There's also a gold version, or not a gold version. There's also there's also a version that's also horizontal that's numbered to 25. So the regular version is numbered to 99 or 199 based on the player. And then there's a version that's numbered out of 25 that has like the jersey number cut out of the jersey piece. Those are the only two higher like quantity versions. Then there's the first vertical version, the only vertical version, numbered to 5. And that's what this is. This is a huge card for any player. I have a friend who collects Jimmer Fredette, and finding this card of Jimmer Fredette was like a huge deal to him. Jimmy Butler is not Jimmer Fredette, though. This is a guy who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. It's a guy who's taken 2 different teams to the finals. And that autograph with that patch, I do not care even a little bit. It's a 7.5. That is an awesome, awesome piece. I love this card. To me, this is one of my favorite cards of the week, for sure. And that will go on our... We'll see. That might go on the thumbnail today. All right, that's going to be it for MC Sports Cards. Gosh, we're already 15 minutes in. I tried to go fast. I failed, as usual. Okay, now we're going to go to Fanatics Collect, and we're just going to look at the weekly. And in the very first row, we see a card that's so interesting for you football fans. So I keep hearing people talk about Drake May this, Drake May that. For Drake May, you're looking at his Gold Prism rookie, and it's the 1 of 10 version, right? This is the very first one made. So the question I have here is, number one, how popular is Drake May really? Are people so crazy for other stuff now that they're not as crazy for the gold rookie? To me, this is the rookie card to get. Obviously, you could get his Black Prism rookie. That would be a bigger deal. But outside of that, like, this is it. And how much does it matter that it's numbered 1 of 10? I'm not sure. If I was collecting Drake May, to me, this would be like a huge, huge, huge piece. One of my favorite cards in my collection is Kobe Bryant's Gold Prism card from 2012, and it's number 1 of 10. I love it because not only is it his first Gold Prism card, because it's his first copy of his first Gold Prism card, and that's what this is right here. Now, some people will say, how do we know that that was really the first one printed? We don't. We just know that it's the first one numbered, and that, for all intents and purposes, here is the same thing. Big Time LeBron and PSA 8, the X Fractor. I love this Jerry Rice. We've seen this one a couple times recently. I love the image on it. Big Wemby, or one of his rarer Prism rookies, the King Snake version at 11.5. Shohei pitching, 9.10. Big Time Jordan autograph. A Kobe 2012 Prism Silver. We just saw one of these sell. Might hurt this sell. Sometimes it happens when things sell close together. You never know how that will impact things. Kobe Legacy in a Gem 10 condition. That's kind of crazy. One of the rarest Jordan base cards, if you consider this one a base card ever. This is the Rose Zero. It is not a Legacy. Some people will say, Adam, that's not a base card. It's a parallel. It's the Rose Zero. They all have Rose, though. Rose 0, 1, 2, and 3. The question is whether the rarest of them, which is the Rose Zero, is also a base card. I will leave it up to you. I've had many conversations with people about that. The members only Shaq in a PSA 10. Huge card. The Kobe with LeBron orange in a PSA 10. The Griffey in an 8. The Mirror Gold out of 30. We've seen a few of these sell, but numbered out of 30. That's a big deal. A Ruth Good 2. A Bams. MJ, not Slam Bams, but still Bams. A Bams Kobe. Big card. A Kaboom from 2023. This is the rookie Kaboom of Victor Wembanyama. Just a huge first page. You can see Bonds Griffey. Luka Contenders rookie on-card auto. Reed Shepherd Gold. Oh, that's really interesting. Reed Shepherd sort of showed up all of a sudden, and people are excited about him. And that's one of his best cards in existence. It is authenticated by CGC. How well will it do? The Kobe 2012 Prism autograph. I am very interested to see how well this one does. PSA 9 with 10 autograph. Haven't seen one of those for a sec. A red Elijah. Oh, there's 48 now. That's why that one took a little bit longer. So that's the first page of the Fanatics Weekly. Definitely check it out. Okay, now we will get to the 2 biggest auctions of the week. And like I said, really want to thank REA for supporting me going out and doing a whole show for them. I love doing a whole show. I love being able to take more time and really being able to dive into the biggest items rather than to rush it. And so appreciate them. And that will come out probably Tuesday. And there's a chance it'll be Wednesday, but probably Tuesday. Before that, though, let's take a brief look at the Golden 100. and some of the big items that they have up for sale. The biggest item is Jackie Robinson's MLB debut ticket, one of the premier tickets in all of ticket collecting. You ask any big ticket collector for baseball, like what are the biggest ones? The Jackie debut ticket is definitely one of them. The more interesting thing here in this first row to me is this Kobe. I got to tell you guys a story on this Kobe. We're gonna make the image big, and we're gonna talk about that one here in a second. And then to see a Jordan PMG red anytime is a huge deal. To see a Shohei orange anytime is a huge deal. And then to see this card, which we haven't seen in a long time, is a huge deal. We're going to take a look at that one. Jordan jersey autograph. Every time we see that, it's big time. An 03 exquisite case, sealed and authenticated. It looks like a baseball card exchange. 280 grand is what that one's at. Woo! LeBron Superfractor. We might do a bit of research on that one. Oh my goodness, this Mahomes. Got to talk about that. 2005 Superfractor of Tom Brady. That is a huge piece. My goodness, there are so many big cards at the Golden 100. Let's go to the next page. We'll click on maybe one or two other items. Maybe we'll see. A lot of Jordan autograph rookies. Boy, how many of them are there? Oh, there's only a couple. Sorry, I'm mistaken. These are 2 stars, but they are not autographed. 286 Fleers that are autographed. Neither of them are buybacks. They're both very cool. Which of these 2 do you like more? I'll tell you this. The fusion patch thing, it's kind of interesting. Some people like it. I don't really love it, but that's because of something maybe I've been conditioned to believe, which is if the patch is not part of the card, it doesn't really do anything for me. Still, I'll tell you what does something for me is that autograph right there. That is just phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Patch doesn't add anything to me. That autograph is perfect. Autograph one on this one's a little bit light, but some people like it in blue. I think that one's in blue. When we make it bigger, we'll be able to tell for sure. Oh, really an interesting Jordan. This one's in an authentic case. Let's see if we can figure out why that's in an authentic case. Maybe the best Derek Fisher card in the world, a Kobe Jambalaya and a BGS 9.5. That's a huge deal. A PMG Champ uncut sheet. And Peyton Manning, 1 of 1 from 1998. Boy, that is an interesting piece. We're going to look at that. I'm obviously interested to see what the Playmakers Theater sells for. This one's only a PSA 5. It's at $42,000. Mine is in an 8 holder, and I did the free cross program. And Nat told me when he put it in front of me, he's like, I think you want to cross this one. And I think what he meant by that is like, this is a card that I think you've got a value game, I think is basically what he's saying. I don't really know. I don't really know Nat well enough to know that. But part of the free cross program was that you get to sit down with Nat. If you had any really giant cards, PSA would take a look at it and they would say, here's what it would cross to. And I took a bunch of stuff and there was a whole bunch of stuff where they were like, you should cross this. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to pay for the difference. Yeah, sorry. It's true. I did do it on a couple of cards, but it's just so expensive, right? I paid like $5,000 to cross 2 cards, and I just didn't have any more money to do any others. So, but this Jordan right here, I have an 8, and he said on that one, I think it was a 6.5 is what they were willing to cross it to. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. But in retrospect, I think that was right. I think he was right. I think I probably should have crossed it if it was about value, which it's not always really about value in a lot of cases. The Filament 11 Kobe, big time, really rare. And as far as inserts go, it's about as rare a card as you can find a Kobe Bryant at that time. Not talking about parallels, talking about inserts. I met a guy who had one of these in his binder for years, packed it away. It was a big, long, crazy story, graded at a 6. I think it sold for like 90 grand. It was the most viewed reel I've ever done. At least I think it still is the most viewed reel I've ever done. Viewed like 4 million times between Instagram and TikTok. Like something like 10,000 hours has been spent watching that silly reel about the Kobe Bryant card. And it's this card right here. So to see another one up is big time, but it's not the same one because this one's an 8. This might be the highest graded. It says Pop 1. It doesn't say none higher, but that would be worth looking into. All right, we're going to stop there. I'd love to keep going with the Golden, but we got to keep it quick. So 2003, we got to look at this Kobe. This Kobe, so I'll point out a couple things. Autograph is not ideal. It is ideal from the perspective of its color. It is not ideal from the perspective of it certainly hits 2 edges, and it might hit that 3rd. Kind of hard to tell on this image. I would pull it up on your phone and really zoom in. I think that first loop maybe hits the side, but this bottom part of the K certainly hits it, and then the bottom part of the E hits it. Some people care, some people don't. I think when it hits that much, it's certainly significant. It's definitely why you wouldn't grade the autograph on here. The autograph's probably an 8. Probably. I would think it's an 8 because it goes off as much as it does, but I might be wrong about that. I've been perplexed many times based on autograph grades. My best card in my collection is a Kobe Bryant autograph. There is nothing wrong with the autograph, and PSA graded it a 9. I've looked at it 10 times. I've looked at it recently, and when I looked at it last, I went, I don't understand what PSA is getting at here. But with that said, this autograph, I think, is preserved so well, right? And that is really key to this card. Now, I've really buried the lead here, though, focusing on the autograph, and that's my bad. I shouldn't have done that. Let me just say this is easily one of my favorite cards of the week, and it's one of my favorite cards that's been at auction in a long time. I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. First year of Exquisite, everybody knows that. Big deal. It's like the big set that everybody sort of talks about as being like so game-changing for the history of the hobby, and that's true. It was the second ever three-figure per pack product. The only one that came before it that was more or was also 3 figures was Ultimate Collection, which debuted 3 years prior to this. So, okay, so it's a big dollar product. So what? Who cares, Adam? Well, in 03 Exquisite, Kobe has a few autograph patches, right? He has the autograph patches to 100. He has the limited logos, which everybody loves because it's got the giant patch, but it's a little picture of Kobe, and that's to 75. He has, does he have an autograph? Does he have the scripted swatches? For some reason, I believe he does, but I can't think of it in my mind, which is a little weird to me. He also has the emblems of endorsement. That's to 25. And then he has the 2 rarest versions. He has the number pieces that are to 8. And then this that are to 15. The emblem. This is the emblems of endorsement. I was referring to the other one, which name escapes me right now because I'm on the spot and not thinking clearly. But it's number to 25, and you guys all know what I'm talking about. I am just without words. The emblems of endorsement to 15 and the number pieces to 8 are easily the rarest of the 2. There's another version. There's an autograph patch version of his base card. That's the best one. It's the 1 of 1. I think Spino owns that, if I remember right. But speaking of Spino, when I asked Spino, I was like, which of the autograph patches do you think is the best? He sort of thought about it for just a second, like Spino does, if you know him. He goes, I think it's the emblems of endorsement. And I was like, over the number pieces? And he's sort of like, yeah. And I was like, why? Why would you take the emblems of endorsement over the number pieces? Like, there's almost twice as many. And he was like, there's just so many people who have wanted that card through the years, and it just never pops up at auction. Now, I've already acknowledged this autograph is not perfect because it goes off card. But when was the last time that this card sold? So let's check Card Ladder and let's see if we can find out. So Kobe Emblems 2003 Exquisite. What? Oh, it says limited logos. I'm like, that's wrong. This guy has to have sold at some point. It sold one time, guys. One time? It's to 15. That is surprising to me. And oh, by the way, this one goes off card too. Now, not in the first spot, and we're not sure on the other one if it really goes off card. And it's in a BGS case that was just beat to crap. Look at that. BGS 8 with 9 autograph. You can see why it's a 9 autograph. The patches here are not as nice as the patches here. Patches here are more premium. Autograph, again, is well preserved. But, and we're going to hit one other thing here in just a second, but the last part of this that is so key that I cannot undersell is this. This card was made when Kobe wore the number 8, as evidenced by the big number 8 here on the side of the card. And this card is serial numbered 8 of number 15. I spent all that time up front talking about like how there's these elements that aren't perfect. This is an absolutely massive, massive, crazy, insane Kobe Bryant card. There is only one jersey numbered version of this card, and there's only one other of the other 14 that have ever sold publicly. That is why this card is currently at $400,000, $396,500 to be exact. And for big Kobe collectors, it does not get much better. As somebody whose best card has an imperfection, my card has some, like, where it's had some bricking. My best Kobe card, I look at this card and I say it maybe has an imperfection in the autograph, but I love it. I love it because maybe it keeps the price down a little bit. Maybe it won't fly up to the 7-figure area. I don't know. I have no idea. I know I can't afford it, and I know that I really like it. I know I wish I could have it. I would love to have this card in my collection. It's certainly one of my favorite cards of the week, and I'm already jealous of whoever comes away with it. So neat to see that one. All right. If we go to the next card, though, it's a card that I know very well, and I don't even want to guess how many people messaged me to say, Adam, you're going to get a comp. I own a card. I own this card in the same grade. It does not have the same subs. Mine has 3 9.5s and an 8.5. I think mine's the nicest looking copy of this card that I've ever seen, although I haven't put it next to this one side to side. I think the 8.5 on my edges is something I will always be mad at Beckett for, but it is what it is. It was graded almost at this exact same time, interestingly. I wonder if it's from the same collection. I'll bet it is. I'll bet this card and mine are from the exact same original collection. I kind of would like to go look at mine real quick, but it would take too long to find it. So anyway, let's talk about this card. 1998 Metal Fusion comes out just on the heels of regular Metal from 98 and Metal Championship from 97 and Metal Universe from 97. Metal Universe gives us the green to 10 and the red to 90, total of 100. Champ gives us the scope pattern numbered out of 50. I think it's the best looking PMGs. And then the next year you get this gold PMG that's embossed and it's really cool looking. It has, like, it refracts, but all the cards sort of have the same type of background other than the name is embossed differently on all of them. And then the fourth metal product that people don't think about as much in those 2 years is the 98 Fusion. 98 Fusion was super weird. Super weird because they tried to do so many things in the same product. There's a regular base version that actually has 3 different levels to it based on where the card is in the set. So different cards within the base set have different levels of rarity. Jordan's level, which is, he's number, you can see it's number 41 right here. So Jordan's 41 in the base set too. I just remember because, wait, I think I'm saying this right. The first 50 in all 3 are in all 3 different variations. And so there's the base set, which again has 3 different levels to it. And then there's this metal set. And I've talked to Gene at Arena Design about this. That was the card that was so hard for them to get right. It's literally made of metal, and it turned out really well. It's not the highest level of the card, though. The highest level of the card, so that those metal ones are called Explosion with an X. And then the last level it's actually the last level split. It's called Fusion. And this is where people get so crazy confused, and it's easy to understand why. Okay. There are 2 parts of the Fusion sets. Okay. I'm going to make this like super simple as possible. If you've ever had any questions on this, I'm going to tell you all the answers right now. So there's 2 different Fusion sets. One is silver, one is gold. Forget everything else. One is silver and one is gold. Within each of those 2 sets are 2 different classifications, and each player only has 1 card. There's 50 total cards. I think it's the first 30. Yeah, it's the first 30 are the more common cards in the set. So there's 30 silvers that are unnumbered, and then there's 20 silvers that are numbered, and they're numbered to 250. And like that, in the golds, there are 30 that are unnumbered and then 20 that are numbered. 30 unnumbered, 20 that are numbered. The 20 that are numbered in both are much rarer, but the regular Fusions are actually pretty rare too. So I think of it as Fusion Silver and Fusion Gold. Some people call this, as Beckett did here, the Titanium. Dun, 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 Titanium. Titanium doesn't look gold. And if you look down here in the words, it says Titanium Supernatural Fusion. And if you go and you look at the checklist, how it was supposed to work out, there's some funky stuff going on here because some of these kept these all kept They all keep the same names, and silver and gold, they all have the same name. But they're not. They're different. They should have switched. One's supposed to have the rarer name, and one's supposed to have the more common name. But Fleer just added all these crazy names on it. And all these years later, I've said this for years because it's one of the best Jordan cards ever made. And again, it's a card that I have in my collection. So of course I have a vested interest in it. I have to be very honest about that. Again, in the same grade, like big bold letters, I own this card. Okay. I've made that clear at the beginning. I know, but I just always want people to know, like, this is where I'm coming from on it. All of that said, it come to me, how I think about it is from his Fleer era, his like Bulls Fleer era, this is the rarest Jordan insert card. If you include parallels, the green, the starting five, the essential credentials now, those are rarer. But inserts, this is as rare as it gets. And then add to it that you get this great image of Jordan rising up in his classic iconic move, right? That fadeaway. Add to it, it's the only serial numbered card ever where they'd like cut the serial number straight out of the cardboard. And add to it that when you put a little white piece of paper behind it or hold it up to the light, you see the silhouette of Michael Jordan coming through the pinholes on the right half of the card. It is phenomenal. It is the best Jordan card as far as like when I was buying the biggest, craziest Jordan cards that I could. It was the one that I found where I was like, this is my favorite. And I own a PMG championship. I've been consistent along the way. I like this one the most. I love how the PMG championship lights up and swirls and spins. It is a parallel, and it is actually from 97, 98, which is when Jordan was still playing. But when they made this card, they didn't know whether Jordan was going to be able to keep playing. And, it is just a phenomenal, phenomenal piece. You can turn around on the back and see more of that silhouette in the like laser cut dots, the laser cut image. You can also see that the Jordan is cut out. There's holofoil in the name, in the Bulls name, and in the logo here. Otherwise, it's just Jordan raising up the pinholes and then the serial number. It is a confusing set, but it is not confusing in terms of how awesome looking it is. And there's only the last thing that I'll add is there's only one Jordan Gold Fusion, right? This is it. My friend MK Sports Cards and I have a long-standing debate on whether this ought to be considered a gold card. I think that it's obviously gold, and it's obviously a parallel of an insert. I'm well aware that it does not have the official name gold in the title anywhere, but I think of it as a gold card. I think of it as a gold insert. It does not look anything like titanium. Fleer messed up on all the naming conventions, but what they did not mess up is they didn't mess up how awesome looking the card is, dude. It's freaking crazy cool. Very proud owner. I've owned mine for 10 years now, and it's very cool to see it up in this grade. Last thing that I want to do on this one, though, and I should have done this up front because you guys are probably just tired of listening to me just yap about whatever. But if I go Jordan Fusion 40. So it says, so the last time one sold, was Chris's from Card Ladder when he had his 8.5 and he and Stan agreed on a price. And then they put it in Card Ladder as a private sale, $325,000. So they did I might be wrong here. Maybe Stan sold it afterwards because they did a trade. Chris and Stan did. Maybe Stan then sold. This is probably Stan selling the card afterwards because Stan already had another copy. Yes, that's what happened because Stan had to sell this so he could then go get a PMG championship. And that's where he got the $325,000 from. Okay, that's what's going on there. So that one sold, and that's an 8.5, right? So it's not a 9, it's an 8.5. And that one sold privately in September. When's the last time we had an auction, though? So the last auction was over a year and a half ago. This is PSA 8, old label, old holder. And a lot of these ones, if you get real close on them, you can see there's a lot. Like, look at this bottom corner down here. This is what's funny to me. And by the way, this is an awesome card and amazing, and I wish I owned it. This is an old holder. This card has been in this holder a long time. In fact, when they graded this, I would guess with reasonable certainty this is the first time that they ever graded this card. PSA didn't used to grade like a lot of cards like this because people were like, why would I send that card in for grading? It doesn't add any value. But this is a very old holder. And a lot of times people will be like, oh, PSA's grades are always like, they're always tough. Look at that bottom right corner. Like that got an 8. So it is graded an 8. It is not an 8 condition though. And you can see that with the naked eye. All 4 corners have a touch, but that bottom right, compare that to this 8.5 that Stan sold. They're not even in the same galaxy, guys. Also, the 8's incredible. The last time a BGS 9 sold was in 2023, and it was a private sale. We don't even know what number it was because they've marked out the serial numbers here. And then you got a PSA 7. Okay, we get back to this. Okay, so at Golden, a 9 sold back in 2022. That's the last time we had one of these. Isn't it funny that sometimes you don't see anything forever and then you see a whole bunch all at once? So look at this. In December of 2021 and then July of 2022, we saw 2 9s. And then we didn't see another one sell at auction for over 3 years, 3.5 years until this week. So huge sale here. That'll be a fun one to watch. The LeBron, I wanted to do a project on. I got to go, though, guys. I got too much to do. Oh, man. I do want to look at this Mahomes real quick, though. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of a research project with you guys on this, and this will likely become a reel because I always wondered this. So Mahomes, this is the gold vinyl. It is not the gold prism. It is the gold vinyl. That means it is numbered not to 10, but instead to 5. This is numbered 5 of 5, and it's in a BGS 9.5 holder. Huge piece, right? Okay, now the next question here, I'm going to just do it right here, is I'm going to type in Panini checklists. Check this out, guys. We click on Panini checklists and we go, remember this is 2017 Prism football. Oh, checklist. We come here and we type in football. Oh dear. And we type in 2017. And then we type in Panini and Prism. When we do that and we hit download full checklist, okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I have just pulled down the spreadsheet from Panini and have sorted by athlete. And what you can do here, I'm going to just do this the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to just delete everything down to Patrick Mahomes and get rid of all that and then show you everything that we find for Patrick Mahomes. And I think you're going to find something really interesting. So Patrick Mahomes, where is he? There we go. So everything above Patrick Mahomes and then go down to the bottom of Patrick Mahomes. Man, there's so much less stuff that was being made in 2017. So here's all of your Patrick Mahomes cards. You can see if you make this big, there's his name, and you can see there's this card set. Like there's this Illumination Prism cards that were numbered. They were card number 3. Obviously, that's an insert. We're gonna get rid of those. Then there's the Instant Impact, and there's the patented penmanship. Then there's the Premier jerseys. Then there's the autographs, numbered to 65. Then there's the rookie introductions and the rookie patch autographs. And then we get to 269. 269 is the rookie. And then there's the stained glass prism stuff. We're going to get rid of that too. So here's what you find, okay? So when you do this, you get 19 cards. There are 19 versions of Patrick Mahomes rookie card. It's pretty cool, right? Today we have a lot of rookies that are in like the 60s, prism rookies that are in like the 50s and 60s and 70s for basketball, and I assume it's the same thing for football, but I guess I don't know that for sure. And you can see how many of them are numbered. You can see there's a total of 887 numbered Patrick Mahomes Prism rookie cards, and the vast majority of them are orange and light blue and blue wave and green scope and purple crystals, and purple crystals. And then you get down to like red power at 49. You get down to camo at 25. In fact, let's do this real quick. Let's make this even better. Let's sort by J. When we sort by J, what do we find out? We find out that we find out that there are exactly 3 parallels numbered to 10 or less. That's it. 3. There's the gold prism, there's the gold vinyl, and there's the black finite. There's not any other weird stuff, guys. Today, this is where when people talk about like how some brands have been diluted, this is what they're talking about. Where it's like, we have so much more stuff to look at and to wonder, like, is that going to have any long-term value? But as it pertains to Patrick Mahomes, there are 3 ever that are numbered to 10 or less. That's it. And so, as we consider that, I'm going to now get out of this. I'm going to get out of that, and I'm going to add back the card that we were just looking at, which is gone. Why don't I see it? Where did it go? It's gone. Gone forever. Here we go. As we go to the card that we were looking at, which is this one right here, you realize what a big deal it is, right? There will always be a conversation. What's better, the gold prism or the gold vinyl? The gold vinyl there's less of, but people really love the gold prism. I'm not sure. I have no idea. What I do know is there are less of this one. I do know it looks like the Superfractor. I do know that some people might think it's a 1 of 1 and it's not. And maybe to some people that's disappointing. But listen, there's 5 of that card in existence. And lastly, if you go to Card Ladder and you type in 2017 Mahomes Prism, and you sort by highest, you're going to get some of the highest football cards that have ever sold. You got the PSA 10 copy that sold for $675, $570, and $528, all between August of 2021 and February 2022. Then you have BGS 9.5. That might be the same card if we look close, back in 2021 for almost $400,000. And then the August 2022 copy for $360,000. And then you get down to the card selling later in a PSA 10 for $222,000. But what we know is a lot of this stuff has gone from where it was really high down, and a lot of it's come back again. A lot of these cards, if we type in, let's try this real quick, gold vinyl. My big question here, obviously, is when was the last time we saw one of these sell? Instead of doing price, we're going to do days sold. These are the autographs. These are the inserts, blah, blah, blah. We haven't seen one in 2.5 years, guys. 2.5 years. Is this the same copy? Ending in 5.6. Ending in 6.4. Not the same copy. So that should be a really fun one. And then lastly, from Golden. Okay, we got 2 cards left at Golden. 2 really interesting different cards. I wonder if we could just figure out by looking at this, like why this person had this card graded authentic rather than having a numeric grade. It sure looks good to me on the front. Card looks great, guys. I am surprised that one says what it says about, or has it graded authentic. Let me know in the comments if you can see anything as to why it's graded just authentic. I'm a big fan of authentic graded cards, though. If you can get the card without having to pay for the massive grade increase, that's a great thing. And then lastly, the Peyton Manning Gold 1 of 1. So in the late 90s and in the early 2000s, we had Upper Deck had this set called Upper Deck Exclusives, which was the parallel. I guess that's not what this is called, which sort of surprises me. I thought all of their parallels at this time were called Upper Deck Exclusives, but this is just simply called the Gold. To find one of these cards back in the 90s of any player was such a crazy, huge deal. You can see the serial number up here, 1 of 1. I'll tell you guys a story real quick before we move on from this one. So when I worked at House of Cards in Salt Lake City, we had this guy who came in all the time. I can still see his face. I'm sure he's long since passed away. He had a black leather jacket. He was not a very well-to-do guy. And he was always out smoking outside the shop. I can't remember his name. Anyway, this guy was one of these card lifer guys. And I met so many of these guys over the years who just, they spent so much time and so much effort on cards, and they care so much about so much about individual cards that they have in their collection, and trying to improve their collection and stuff. And I got to know this guy pretty well. I feel bad that I can't remember his name, but I haven't thought about him in a long time. Anyway, this guy pulled out of basketball from basically the same year the Tim Duncan 1 of 1. It was 98, 99, and it was the 1 of 1 Tim Duncan. And he put it in one of those giant lucite holders, and just honestly felt like king of the world. Like, it wasn't just that he had a 1 of 1, he had a 1 of 1 of Tim Duncan. And he told me he had been offered $5,000 and he had said no to it. And who knows whether that was true, and who knows, you're probably thinking, who cares? It's $5,000. $5,000 back at this point was not something that you ever saw, ever. And that was that Tim Duncan card. I did get to see it in person. It was like, look at this. I have this thing to show you. And who knows what happened to him or what happened to the card. I think he might have sold it before he died. And like I said, I think I remember hearing that he had passed away, but it's been long enough ago now. I'm sure he's gone. Those kinds of cards were, when you think about like grails, like that was it. That was like the best thing you could get. And a lot of people, this card, I'm not sure if it'll sell for as much as like an Essential Credentials Future. It's numbered to what, 6 or 7? But this card, when it came out, was way better in our minds, way better than a PMG or a Credentials. Like, this was the card. So it's really cool to see it at auction. I don't know if we've seen it before, but it's definitely one to watch this week. And then finally, REA's auction ends in 6 days from now. So this ends next Sunday. And I currently have this sorted from highest to lowest. And I will just give you guys a little tip real quick. One card to watch this auction. We recently saw a Ruth autograph sell. But man, this is a really, really nice Ruth autograph. This is one of the nicest looking cards I've ever seen. I want to go find out real quick what the other ones sold for and kind of compare them with you guys. I think if we type in auto, we'll get there probably. Okay. All right. Like I said, this is a great card that sold at Heritage. An absolutely fantastic card. I want you to look at these really closely, though. Oh, I'm in the wrong place all of a sudden. Okay. So here's the one that's up right now. Trying to make them the same size, but that's not really working for me, is it? Can I do that? That's pretty good. All right, that's as good as I can get it. So let's compare these. These are the same card, obviously, right? This one's graded a 2 with a 7 autograph. This one's graded a 1.5 with 7 autograph. This one's signed Babe Ruth. This one's signed Babe Ruth. This one does not have any sort of inscription or anything to it. And this one says sincerely. They're both signed in the same sort of slant. This one might be just a little bit darker. I think those are basically the differences. So we've sort of identified all the differences, just saying them out loud. So then the last thing that I'll do, because this is what I did for myself. I saw this one come in the preview first. Even though it's selling afterwards, I saw this one previewed before this one. Look at this card for a second. Look at the autograph. Think about how the card makes you feel. And now do the same thing with this one. I feel 2 things that I want to talk about. One is a pro and one is a con. I love the sincerely, like a lot. I really, really love the sincerely. It feels different to me. It feels more premium. I'm not telling you what to believe or what to feel. I'm telling you that's how I feel. I really like it a lot. I do think that the negative here is that compared to this one, is that this autograph is unobstructed by the black in the socks. Whereas this one does have that little bit of black down here. And so you miss part of the B, the second B in Babe. I don't care about that much. I think that the sincerely is more important than where the second B is. I personally like this copy more than this copy. I really like both. I love both. This is, if I wanted to get like an autographed vintage card, a PSA DNA card, I don't know that there's much more than I would want than a Gowdy Ruth. Like, I love this card so much. When I saw this came to auction, I sent it to a friend, and I was like, when I saw the preview of this, I was sent it to a friend, and that friend immediately was like, that's $1 million card. And I was like, I think it is too. I wonder, though, if having the more simple Babe Ruth card right here, I wonder if having this one only sell for $585,000, I wonder if it hurts this one. And that makes me think about it. It makes me think, could there be a chance that this sells low? Because that's a long-term card, man. That is a card that you hold forever. That's a card that you think, well, I now own one of the very few Babe Ruth autographed Gowdy cards in existence. And on that note, I got to show you guys this real quick. Got to show you this real fast. If we do PSA DNA, if we PSA Pop Report, and we type in 1933 Gowdy, we're going to find how many Babe Ruth autographs in the whole of the population. We're going to find out. So we go PSA DNA, and then we type in Babe Ruth. We will get, what's going on? Why is that not giving me anything? Something broken at PSA right now? Maybe something's broken at PSA right now because nothing's coming up. PSA DNA. Okay, there we go. For some reason, sometimes PSA's website gives me a little bit of a hard time. Maybe it's because I'm on here so much. So that you can see all 4 cards. 6 plus 9 plus 6 plus 8. 6, 15, 21, 29. 29 total Babe Ruth autographed 1933 Gowdy cards across 4 different ones. I always forget the numbers. Forgive me for not knowing that off the top of my head. This is 144, meaning this is the most common in terms of how many what quantity is. There's 9 of these. I think a lot of people might say with autograph, it's also the nicest looking because you get the image of Babe that's unobstructed, right, by the autograph. Whereas the other ones, you know, you might have to have an autograph that doesn't quite look. Maybe I'm sort of off on that. I'm not sure, but really interesting to see both of them sell within a couple of months of each other. Like I said, this is my favorite one of the two, but right now it is not in the same place as this other one was. The last thing that I got that I didn't bring up, this is a 1.5 with an MK. Means it's been marked. Sometimes it's hard to figure that out. Oh no, this one's got a star right at the top. I love that. Or the little X right at the top. I say I love that because I just love it when cards have things like this that give them real character. Some people will say that's something you have to explain away, and I hear that, but I just love it when something has that difference to it. Obviously, love the autograph. We've talked about that in depth now. And in my show that I do for REA later this week, we're going to talk about all these cards, guys. I'll take an hour and a half and just go through a ton of stuff at REA, and I'm excited to do that. Okay, last thing, Card Hobby. We always say save Card Hobby for last. Go sort by highest first on Card Hobby. You're going to see this giant, messy autograph. This immaculate ant is awesome looking. This flawless ant has tons of colors going on in it. A really cool Luka autograph. This T-Mac is actually super underrated. It's numbered at a 50. Great looking 9 on it. And then one of my favorite cards of the week, actually, at Card Hobby. This quad autograph out of Immaculate. Now, it doesn't have Clay, but it has Steph, Iggy, Draymond, and Harrison Barnes. This is the early. This is before Durant gets to Golden State. It's as Steph is becoming Steph, and all 4 of them are on that card. And there's just not very many cards like this. I can't tell you it's going to be some crazy number. I don't think it is going to be. But if I was a big Steph collector and I wanted like pieces of his history that I thought were really interesting, to me that would be, that would be a really interesting one to watch after. The Noir Logo Man of Jeremy Lin is very cool. That card's numbered 1 of 1. The Ray Allen autograph logo, limited logos out of 2009 is numbered to 18 with a really great looking patch. Tons of big cards ending at Card Hobby. Guys, this is an absolutely crazy week. As always, I love doing the show. I love going through all the big cards ending this week. You can see between REA and Golden 100 and all of the normal stuff that's going on, this week is bonkers. Hit me up if you have any questions. Make sure to add a like. Make sure if you enjoyed this that you like it. Make sure if you don't already subscribe, you hit subscribe. Go check out my Instagram at the Real 27 Guy. And remember, if you want one of these, you want it inscribed, message me on Instagram. I can help you out with that and give you an updated price. Don't go order it directly from the site if that's what you want. But if you just want the book, go order it directly from the site. You'll get it a few bucks cheaper that way. And we'll get to you here in like the next week or so. You can get it before Christmas. Go order it for your friends for a cool Christmas present. But thank you guys for joining. And until next time, happy collecting.